Mike, one of the nice things we hear from CISOs who listen to our show, Cybersecurity Headlines, is they say, oh, at least one of the stories in Cybersecurity Headlines comes up in one of our daily meetings. The number one issue that always comes up is, do we need to worry about this? And as I understand, what you're doing with Stairwell is you're answering the question of, do we need to worry about this? Explain.
So when you think about a threat research team at some company produces a report and they'll say, hey, malware X we've seen it with these hashes or it communicates with these C2 domains. It becomes like a game of IOC matching, right? And so then organizations kind of like, they jump into their EDR logs and they try and say, do we have any of these hashes in our environment? Do we have any execution logs? And then that gets into data retention problems of like, how much data do you have in your EDR logs? You have an incoming flood of this information and you have like an obligation to understand, is this in your environment? And then you also have the double-sided coin of, was this in my environment just outside of whatever retention window that I have? So the idea with Stairwell is we collect a copy of every executable and executable-like file from within an enterprise, and we store them. That allows us to continuously analyze them in light of new and emerging information. So if you have, say, a report come in from a top headline or so on and so forth, you're able to take that information, come into our platform, and ask, do I have any of this stuff in here? One of the features that we're really proud of that we built last year is something that we call automated variant discovery. We're able to take the hash of a file that does not exist within our company and find an intrusion because we have files that are very similar to it that were not included in that report. And that's something that you're actually doing content-based file clustering at scale, that you can now take new information and expand out its capabilities and its relationships even beyond what the people who wrote the report may even be aware of. And so that becomes incredibly powerful. You may have a file that trips your EDR and your EDR says this file is malicious. Wouldn't it be nice to know if there are similar files that did not trip your EDR that also exist inside your enterprise?
It's unleashing a new power for the security professional, isn't it?
In the Marvel world, right? Tony Stark is a weapons manufacturer, successful person, but then you put on the Iron Man suit and you become an Avenger of sorts. What does that look like for a security person? You have great tools, you have great infrastructure, you have some brilliant people working on your team, but how do you take that person and make them, next level? How do you turn them into a superhero?
We've used this analogy before, the Iron Man analogy.
It persists how I think about security in general. So I'm going to keep coming back to it.
Well, thank you very much, Mike. To learn more about Stairwell and to essentially give you greater insight into your environment, which is what they're doing, like where is this problem existing across my environment, go check them out at stairwell.com.